Welcome back. This is Tampa Home Talk, and I'm your host, Katrina Madewell. We are back for another episode with Mr. Adam Boudreau with Tactical Roofing and Construction. And we thought we would do a follow-up episode talking about all those deferred maintenance things that we see compile over time. That list gets longer and longer the longer you're in your home. And this was a pretty good follow-up from the 4-point inspection, things you need to know and things that get flagged that shouldn't be flagged. So let's talk about that. And we talked about like building code changes and all of these things that have changed, right, over time, and
Yes,
things
ma'am.
that we see on the inspections and even on the rebuilds when people renovate. But let's talk about for a moment the people that are in their home for a long time. And I think we're going to see more and more of this, especially with the super low rates that we had in the early 2020s and a little bit through COVID. We'll see people hang on to those properties long term. If people want to move, we see them sometimes hold those as a rental, which I think is amazing. And maybe we could just talk about it from that place, right? Those deferred maintenance things, maybe it's just the tenants in the property and they're not caring about the property the same way a homeowner would. And the longer time goes, the more things are in there. So what kind of things do you see that homeowners should be looking at, checking on, and how often should they sort of get a general look over, whether it's a home inspection or a contractor like you?
Well, I think it's one of those things that a 4-point inspection, right, looks at your 4 major systems in your home, your roof, your electrical, your plumbing, and your air conditioning. If you don't sell your home for 15 years, then you have no inspections going on. If your air conditioner is not broken, you're not going to fix it. However, you should have it maintained, at least have an annual service done. You know, your water heater.
Well, before you move on, can I just slow you down on that? So you talk about maintain the HVAC. Let's talk about what that means, right? Because you'd be surprised the people on a regular basis that don't even put like either bleach or vinegar in their line to keep it cleaned out. So talk about what regular maintenance looks like, what a maintenance from an HVAC contractor on an annual basis looks like. What kind of things are they doing, and why is it important that they do that annual inspection?
Great question. So when you do an annual inspection on an air conditioning system or an annual service, the air conditioning contractor is going to come in and open up the system, and your cooling coils that actually transfer the heat to cool that run your air conditioning, over time they get dust, they get sediment, and they get buildup on them, and they lose efficiency. So you gradually watch your utility bills go up and you blame the utility company, but it might actually be your air conditioner. Your air filters, if you're not changing them regularly.
Every month,
then, and even when they don't look dirty, still every month, you're changing those. That keeps a lot of that sediment out of your coils.
let me add on to that. If you have pets, and if you don't clean your home regularly with dust, you are going to have more of that. It's going to be even more important to maintain those things annually.
And you can clean your home obsessively, and you still have excessive dust in your house. Toilet paper creates more dust than anything I've ever seen. When
little stuff people don't think about.
Yeah, it's amazing. But we see it when we demolish a bathroom for a renovation. You get the history of the bathroom in sometimes an unfriendly way. And so we find leaks that got behind walls or different stuff from not maintaining, right? So you mentioned putting vinegar down the drain. We frequently will get called where somebody's ceiling fell down or the garage flooded or something happened because the overflow, when it removes the heat and humidity from the air, then it creates condensation water. That water has to get outside somehow. If that drain line gets plugged, it floods. It's supposed to shut your air conditioner off automatically, but if that float fails, it's going to flood your home. If you're gone for the weekend, you come back, now there's 2 inches of water in your house because the drain got plugged and you didn't know it. So,
and that could have been sitting there, which creates other problems.
Oh, without a doubt. Now we're potentially tearing out walls. It's just like a storm flood. We're tearing out walls, we're tearing out flooring, your furniture's destroyed. Like, it's very expensive compared to $200-$400 a year to have your air conditioning system on an annual service. And air conditioner companies make it really convenient. They'll put you on an annual plan where they'll call you and remind you once a year. So, your water heater,
So other than the annual service, what else would you recommend for regular homeowner maintenance between the services? Just putting the vinegar in once a month?
I would definitely put vinegar in your drain line once a month and then change your filters once a month.
All right.
And then just check your system to make sure it's functioning properly in terms of, your utility bill's not continuing to climb. You're just paying attention to what's going on.
Got it.
And what I see is as like everybody's feeling the pinch right now. Fuel prices are high. Food prices are high. The price of everything, building materials is high. And people are trying to find ways to save money. And unfortunately, preventative maintenance is one of those first things that they cut because, I could just do it next year. Well, if it started in COVID when prices started going high, and now here we are 6 years later, and you're still not doing it, you got potentially 6 years of deferred maintenance that can cost you a lot of money now.
And do it now before we get into the super hot months and these HVAC guys are so backed up. Do it right now.
And to piggyback on the last conversation we had, find contractors that like, and trust that are not going to sell you stuff that you don't need.
Oh, yes, that's a good one. Ask for recommendations.
For sure. So if you recently bought, refer to your realtor. If you're going to sell, talk to your realtor because it's people in the industry that have connections, have resources. Personally, don't go to Facebook. Facebook is nothing more than a shouting contest of who can yell the loudest the most frequently. Yeah. Hey, I need a roofer recommendation. You don't get the best roofing company. Right. You just get the roofing company that spends the most on marketing.
Yep, that's true. And then, the busy, smaller people that are doing the good job that are not tacking all that extra stuff, they're not even going to compete in that. They're just going to do what they do.
No. And so when I started the roofing company, I looked around and I looked at how much money some of my competitors, the large roofing companies, and their annual budget of marketing is sometimes in the millions.
Yeah.
And so it's such a noisy channel to try and get people's attention through marketing and advertising. I just decided I would out relationship and out hustle them.
Yep.
And so we do what we say we're going to do. We deliver great service and we just rely on referrals and relationships.
Relationships matter. I wrote the book on, I joke around, but really it's my entire career has been based on relationships.
Same.
So we talked about HVAC and then we were going to pivot into.
So water heaters. Your water heater is supposed to be drained every 6 months. Most people, that's a shock to them. But if you look at your water heater, whether if it's a gas water heater or electric, at the bottom, there is a garden hose connection that you just attach a garden hose to it, flip the breakers off in your electric panel so the system's not trying to heat the water as you drain it, and drain your water out of the water heater and let it run for 15 minutes. You will be amazed at how much rust and scale and sludge comes out of the bottom of your water heater. And as that builds up, it affects your water quality, but it also affects the efficiency of the water heater, so it doesn't work as well. And then eventually it's going to fail, and now you got to buy a new water heater. Water heaters are $2,800 by the time you permit them. And that's another thing people don't realize.
You need a permit.
You have to have a permit to replace a water heater. So, it's stuff like that people just are not aware of because there's, back in the 50s, there was home ec.
Yeah.
And it kind of died in the 80s of that home ec kind of class that taught you just life skills of how to maintain a home, how to, cook and clean and sew and all those kind of things. Well, people graduate, when I was at University of Florida, I had students that didn't know how to do laundry, didn't know how to work a washing machine. The education of first-time home buyers is behind the curve of where they need to be.
Yeah.
And it's scary.
It should be required, but it's not.
It should be. And at one point we actually considered having classes. So you want to buy a house, here's what you need to know.
Here's the real stuff you need to know.
Right. I mean, I can afford the monthly payment of the house is just the very, very basic. You have to be able to afford the maintenance of that house.
Even basic maintenance is good.
For sure.
So when you're draining the hot water heaters, does all that sludge ever come all the way out? I thought some of it kind of stays at the bottom. Some
of it will, but a very small amount left in the bottom is nothing compared to 8 inches in the bottom. I've drained them on houses that have had home inspections or recently sold, or a 4-point, it failed the water heater. And so we drain it as a part of replacing it. Mm-hmm. And we can't even get it to drain because it's so full of rust and scale that it's plugged up the drain. And so that water's in your piping system in your home. You're showering in it. You're brushing your teeth with it. You're drinking that water. You really need to maintain it.
What do you do when it's that plugged up? How do you get it?
So we actually pressurize it backwards and push water up into the water heater to kind of push it all out. But, in the case when we're tearing it out, sometimes we'll just manhandle it outside, throw it on the ground and let it drain out the top. Whatever it takes to get it done.
So, and then what else? What other big homeowner maintenance items? Like, these are really good tips on how to maintain your home, which transfer into big things later. Like you mentioned with the HVAC. Just all the problems that can cause, like if it leaks in your house and you're gone for the weekend, very possible.
For sure.
And then the hot water heater, that's a great point. All the stuff, the settlement and everything that's in that water. What else? But I know it also creates wear items on your piping. And
it does.
What else would you add on the hot water heater?
So hot water heater, not a whole lot more that you really need to check. Okay. Check your temperature of your water. Your water heater temperature is adjustable. If it's way hotter than you need, and when you take a shower, it's 50% cold water, 50% hot, you can turn that water heater down and run a lot less hot water that way.
What's your thoughts on the tankless versus the regular tanked hot water heaters?
I love them.
Any thoughts or opinions on that?
I have tankless in my house. Okay. So there's no tank. It's a limitless supply of hot water. So if you're not using the hot water, you're not keeping the vessel hot. So it's ready for you. So it's on demand use only. Frequently they will save you money in terms of long-term. If you've got kids in the home or you have a large family, they're really ideal because by the time you run, 4 teenagers through a shower, you're stuck with cold water if you're the last kid. Whereas a tankless is always going to have hot water.
I'm not sure in my house if that would cost more money or less money because the kids would be in the shower longer. I'm not really sure what should be more expensive.
Put a timer on it. Yes.
So that's not typically too expensive, right? It's a little bit more than a whole tank, but it's not too hard to change.
Depending on what you have, it may actually be cheaper.
Okay.
We just got done doing a 75-gallon gas hot water heater. To replace it with another 75-gallon unit was $9,000. To replace it with a tankless was only $4,800.
Whoa.
So we went tankless, and that's what we worked into that deal for that real estate.
Wow. I think it's better, but I don't know.
Oh, for sure.
Some people say stuff about like the sediment in the water's so hard that sometimes that creates a problem with the tankless.
It can. Hard water is going to create a problem for everything anyways. It's going to clog up your faucets, your toilets, your hot water heater. Hard water is a problem.
Right. What's the maintenance on the tankless? Is there maintenance on those?
Not really.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Plug them in and let them go because there's no tank to drain.
Right.
So
what else? What are those big things that we see that people miss and it creates bigger, more expensive problems later?
So look underneath your cabinets in your bathroom, in your kitchen, especially the kitchen. Just move all the cleaning appliances and all the stuff that you keep underneath there.
Did you look under my sink? All the junk we have under the sink.
Just look and make sure, run your hand underneath the bottom of the drains and make sure nothing's leaking. If you can't see it, it's easy to ignore and you will never know that something's happening back there. I've seen kitchens where they've had leaks for years, but they never caught it because it was hidden by something. Mm-hmm. And so, just check those items out. And it's a quick, 2 seconds. Run your hand underneath the drain.
Yeah.
Make sure it's dry. You're good to go. If your toilet doesn't stop running when it's done flushing, that's potentially going to cost you a couple $100 a year in wasted water. It's amazing how much water a toilet can use. So, call a plumber, get it fixed. There's DIY kits at Lowe's, Home Depot. Just make sure that the water's not running constantly. Leaky faucet, same kind of thing.
Couple little things too, like we'll see people that have these big houses and the kids move out. There's only 1 or 2 people left in the home compared to maybe they had 6 or 8 or however many people. The more toilets and stuff you have, if those things aren't flushed and used, those seals go bad. It'll cost you a lot, like by not using areas of your home that you previously used.
Absolutely.
So sometimes it makes sense to downsize.
It really does. You're paying for all that additional space and the maintenance doesn't stop, as you said.
What else? What other things do you see that are kind of get overlooked the longer people own properties?
So roofing wise, you would be amazed at how many roofs leak that you can't see a stain on a ceiling. Just because you don't have a stained ceiling doesn't mean your roof isn't leaking. So if you have an older roof, get a roof inspection. We started charging $99 to do them. And so we do a roof inspection, do a full photo report, and we give you recommendations on what to fix. Again, if you get out in front of problems before they get much worse, as an example, we had a client that had an actual insurance claim on her home because during a heavy storm, it rained in her house and flooded out her daughter's bedroom and bathroom, and it was thousands in damage. Well, the problem was actually her pool heater panels were leaking. The chlorine leaked down onto a roof vent. It deteriorated the roof vent to where in the middle of a rainstorm, the roof vent just fell off. So she had a 6-inch hole in her roof. And the roof was only 12 years old.
I know people put those heaters for the pool, solar, all that stuff on their roof, but I personally don't like it. I'm just a real estate agent. You're a contractor, but I'm like, I don't want to put anything on my roof. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
I don't want anything on my roof either.
It's the same thing. Okay, good.
Yeah, nothing on my roof. The fewer penetrations there are through the roof, the less likelihood that you're going to have future problems. PV, photovoltaic solar, is installed by electricians, not roofers. So just keep that in mind. Mm-hmm. You have electricians that are installing something on your roof.
With holes and puncturing it.
And yes. So nothing against solar. Yeah. I love solar. I work with it. We do a lot of work. I
personally just would never have solar unless it wasn't on my roof. Like I would want like an outdoor roof decking where you put the chickens or whatever, but not on my roof.
You know, and I'm going to say it's the same as anything else. If you have the right contractors, solar on your roof will cause you no problems. It'll actually, in the area where the solar is installed, it'll prolong the life of your roof because it's protecting it from the sun's rays. So there is a positive.
A little bit of a sidebar, but on point and so fun to talk about. Are you guys doing any of those like solar roof tiles? You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Are you doing any of those? Have you seen them?
I've seen them. I went and I did a certification to get certified to install them.
Okay.
I just recently priced one, and this
crazy expensive.
You'll love this.
Yeah.
So the house is $32,000 to remove and replace the shingle roof. If we put a Tesla solar roof on it, it was $323,000.
How much was the house?
I mean, the house was probably worth that as well. But can you imagine the payback that it would take at $300 to $500 a month?
Is Tesla the only one that's doing those, or is there anyone else that's doing those? There's got to be some other competition in the market, or just not out there.
Not
yet.
Really right now. It'll mainly come. The Tesla ones.
Yeah, it'll come. Well, this has been a fun show.
It's been fun.
I
for sure.
appreciate it. I hope you guys got some value out of today's show. And I would encourage you, if you've been in your home for any extended period of time, if you're talking to me and I'm going out pre-listing, I'm going to have you get a home inspection because we want to find all those things before the buyer, get those taken care of because it will save you a lot of money and potentially keep your buyer in the deal because your next buyer might not pay the same price. And so that alone is probably worth every penny I'm paid and then some. Adam, so great to have you on the show again. Thank you for your knowledge and your expertise and educating the public and realtors and inspectors alike. If you want to connect with myself, Adam, or any guest on my show, our off-air number is 813-377-2775. You can call or text that number, 813-377-2775. This is Tampa Home Talk. I'm your host, Katrina Madewell. Love where you live, or we're going to fix it. Welcome home.